All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I'm Abdullah Suleiman. I'm an employability associate here at Amdari Talent Loop. Okay, and it's going to be a very fantastic and interesting one. Nothing practical. Okay, trust me, guys. Nothing so practical. However, I would want the session to be 100% conversational. All right. So I would be expecting a couple of response from the chat box, just a bit of testing. If you can hear me, um, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, if you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Tina. Right, thank you very much for that, Christabel. Kingsley, I can see you're trying to give it a thumbs up as well. Okay, thank you very much from that. Um, all right, fantastic. I like the energy already. Okay, it's a very, very fantastic one. Okay. And I mean, I've seen a couple of new names. I'm not very familiar with them. I think it's just Christabel that I had seen at some point um, in time. So if you're joining this session for the first time, give me a one in the chat box. Just give me a one in the chat box, okay? But if you have, come across Talent Loop before, or you've seen me before, or any of my team members, give me a 1-1. That's an 11 in the chat box. All right. I'll be waiting for a couple of response. Hello, guys. You guys confirmed you could hear me, so I'm still waiting for the response to come in. A one in the chat box if you're joining in for the first time. However, if not, give me a 1-1 in the chat box. Oh, thank you very much for that, Kesley. Okay, Barati Abigail, thank you very much for that. Thank you, Tina. Okay, fantastic. All right, so today is just going to be entirely based off of your CV, the paper representation of who you are. Okay, paper representation of who you are. All right. Ebenezer, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that, Christabel. Okay, now there is one very, very key thing about your CV. Okay, your CV is the paper representation of who you are. All right, paper representation of who you are. Okay, now, all right, sorry for that distraction. Okay, now the entire session is brought to you by Dari Talent Loop. Okay, Dari Talent Loop. All right, and as we proceed, as we move further, you'll be learning more about what we do here at Dari Talent Loop. Okay, now the entire thing has been, concocted, founded by Adeza Suleiman, who is a technology expert with over a decade of experience in data analytics, data science, as well as management consulting. Okay, he's founder of Tenalytics as well as the co-founder of Dari. All right, and he has helped almost 3,000 plus people, get into the tech without any tech background. All right. Okay. He has experience cut across UK, US, Canada, and the likes. All right. And here is my own self, Abdullah Suleiman, who is a career coach, expert, as well as a data engineer. Okay, I use tools cut across Python, SQL, Power Platform, as well as AWS. Okay, and I've helped countless professionals write their stories on paper, especially when they are switching careers or trying to break into the competitive industry. All right, and who are we at Talent Loop? Who are we at Talent Loop? Just the short thing that we do is we help you utilize that hidden potential to potentially land your dream career across any career path. Okay, and that's what we do at Talent Loop. All right, that's what we do at Talent Loop. But don't worry, there are a lot of slides that will still depict 100% of what we do. Okay, to give you that um good knowledge. Okay. Another activity that I would want you guys to do for me, another activity that I want you guys to do for me. All right. Just answer this question with all honesty in the chat box. Okay. If you've ever sent out 50 plus applications and you've not gotten any callback, okay, if not gotten any callback and you've sent out quite a number of applications, okay, just give me an indication in the chat box. You could type yes, you could type me, you could type a full stop, okay, you could type yes, me, or a full stop. All right, fantastic, Abigail. Okay, Abigail is just like me. In fact, my own case is a lot more is a lot more typical than yours. It was way more than 500 plus application. I'm not exaggerating here, guys. And that's the reason why I could come here today and speak about, the challenges that people face from their CV. Or I had talked about interviews, I had talked about your LinkedIn, I had talked about so many other things in the previous sessions. All right, if you go through our YouTube channel, you'd see those sessions there. Now, if you have, put out 50 plus applications and you've not gotten a call back, we'll be talking about that briefly today. All right, we will be talking about that briefly today. Okay, now one thing people tend to overlook is your CV might be 100% perfect. Your CV might be 100% perfect, but there is that thing that people tend to overlook from the CV. People tend to overlook it while putting out their CV there. All right. Thank you very much for that. Okay, people tend to overlook it while putting their CV out there. All right. And most times recruiters tend to ignore it. It's not like you're doing anything wrong. You've had the proper appropriate keywords in your CV, guys. Just give me a thumbs up if you know what the ATS is. If you know what the applicant tracking system is, just give me a thumbs up, guys. Okay. Just if you know what the applicant tracking system is, all right, fantastic. I'm Chris Sabel. Okay, the applicant tracking system is also known as the ATS. Now, usually this is a bot that tends to sieve out your CV against every job application. Okay, it sieves out your CV against every job application. Now, there is also a human form of ATS. Now, this is when recruiters tend to manually visualize your CV. And I can assure you that they do not spend up to 10 seconds. Okay, they spend less than 10 seconds visualizing your CV. All right, they spend less than 10 seconds visualizing your CV. Now, when it's not the humans who are visualizing your CV and you have the ATS, you notice you sent out an application and almost immediately, just like they've typed out the rejection, waiting for you to send your CV or your application out to them, and they are throwing you back a rejection, guys. Okay, and that's one thing that I don't like to see. All right, though I'm very used to I got to a point where I've been very used to getting rejection, so it's nothing new. Okay, it's nothing new. So we'll be looking at the common mistakes that keeps you invisible. All right, there are some common mistakes. Okay, there are some common mistakes that people make while putting out their CVs. Very common mistakes. Okay, very common mistakes. Okay, that makes recruiter ghost you. All right, common mistakes that make recruiter ghost you. Okay, now there's something I call laundry listing duties. Guys, you've seen some people's professional summary, okay? Because of how sensitive this is, I work with countless not number of people's CV, and I deliberately did not put it out here, okay, just to I'm not put people on the spot. All right, but you have seen quite a number of CVs before rewriting and revamping them. You would see something like I'm hardworking, motivated individual. Guys, you don't want to, make your CV outdated. You don't want to list your duties like that. You don't want to list attributes. Okay. You don't want to, go into your CV and you don't have measurable achievements. Okay. You don't have measurable achievements. One very common thing that people tend to do is not aligning the CV with the target role. Okay, not aligning the CV with the target role, guys. All right, not aligning the CV with the target role. And I can assure you that this also happens in form of ensuring that your CV is a direct match to the job description. Your CV is a direct match to the job description, guys. Now you tell me, how do you do this? I've even had a scenario whereby someone did come to me and tell me that, look, I copied the entire job description word for word, embedded it into my CV, sent the application. I still got a rejection. Why is that? Okay, now there are some common formatting errors people make. Why, you know, writing an appropriate CV. That formatting error would ensure, or would, not enable the ATS, which is the applicant tracking system, read the CV appropriately. All right. So you have your CV, you have all the keywords, all the action verbs in your CV, all the experience, and I mean, you're a perfect match. Okay, let's even say if a recruiter should spend that, 10 seconds or 6 seconds, usually the average 6 seconds looking at your CV. All right. The ATS doesn't even let your CV go through to the recruiter. All right. Now that's one very thing. The formatting. Okay. Now that would be for another session, another day. Okay. Now, one very key thing people tend to overlook. All right. I know the session is not about the LinkedIn. However, your LinkedIn story and your CV has to be aligned. Okay, has to be aligned. All right, has to be aligned. All right, your CV as well as your LinkedIn has to be aligned. All right, has to be aligned. Now, there is one thing, one very key thing. I know I had mentioned it briefly. Okay, I had mentioned it briefly. Now, you want to write your CV. You want to ensure that your CV has that proper structure. That proper structure. Now, there is something that I tend to say, from your summary to your work experience to your skills, you ensure that these are ATS fit. Okay, these are ATS fit. Now, let's say for example, as a customer service specialist, okay, you've handled customer complaints. Okay, you've handled customer complaints. Or even before I, talk about this, let me even ask if anyone is willing to share. Okay, I'm not putting anyone on the spot, please, but if you're willing to share, you could just put a brief summary, very brief, short summary of what you do currently. Okay, of what you do currently. You could just put it in the chat box. Okay, I'll go back to it and we'll talk about it very briefly. All right, now you're speaking about your experience as a customer support specialist, and you've handled customer complaints, guys. Would you just put it in your CV as handled customer complaints? Yes, that's an action verb. Okay, handled customer complaints. No, no, there is something I always say. There is something I always say. Just like how I tell you during an interview, use the STAR approach to introduce yourself. You would also use the STAR approach while writing your experience in your CV. Okay, you use the STAR approach while writing your experience in your CV. Now, this would help you with career alignment summary. Okay, to help you with career alignment summary, as well as your achievements and based experience. Okay, your achievements and based experience. And one thing this would also, channel your efforts to is industry targeted skills. Okay, now whilst you have the skill section where you can put that in, but you're talking about your experience, what you've done. Okay, that's the avenue of you really talking about things that you've done in your previous experience. Okay, now if you're not going to be using this STAR approach, there is also an approach that I tend to tell people to use. Very simple, short, and straightforward. You might want to note this down. I call it the CPR approach, which is the challenge, process, and the result. The challenge, the process, and the result. Okay, the challenge, the process, and the result. Sorry, let me just check if I have a message in the chat box. Okay, okay. Thank you very much for that, Williams. Okay, thank you very much for that, Williams. I had seen your experience in the chat box. All right, I'll attend to that towards the ending of the session. All right. Now, the CPR method, the challenge, the process, and the results. I think I'll just put it in the chat box. Okay. You're either going to be using the STAR approach or the CPR to write your experience. Now, how do you put it? How do you put it? In fact, I think I'm just going to, I've seen something very interesting from Williams Williams' experience, and I'm just going to use that directly. Okay, I'm just going to use that directly now. Developed interactive property investment dashboards in Power BI, enabling data-driven decision making for stakeholders and boosting investment success rates by 20%. Fantastic. Now, the CPR, you would see it there, the challenge. Okay, the challenge, the process, and the results. However, there is no clear challenge with what I had just read here. Let me look for another one. Okay, there's no clear challenge there. Okay, what he has there is the process and the results, which is absolutely fantastic, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, the challenge for what I had mentioned concerning the customer complaint specialist. Okay, trust me, the session is recorded. If you're wondering, oh, all these things you're saying, I'm giving off quite a number of informations without having them on my slides. Guys, it's 100% recorded. Okay, it's 100% recorded, and I want you. It's a 100% recorded session, and I always want people to go back to the sessions and watch it. Okay, you'll still find very engaging and interesting topics that we had touched in the past. Okay, now I was saying something about a customer complaint specialist. Now, using the um challenge, the process, and the result, resolved 90% of customer complaints within 24 hours, boosting satisfaction score by 18%. Okay, still the same thing as handling customer complaints. All right, still the same thing as handling customer complaints. But on your CV, you're using an action verb there. Resolve 90% of customer complaints, which is the challenge. Okay, now the complaint is also, sorry, the process is also within the complaint, which is you resolved the customer complaints within 24 hours, boosting satisfaction rates by 18%. Now, you can also term this as the result, guys. You can also term this as the result. Okay. Now, very fantastic thing that Williams has here. Okay, I had already seen another one that had taken my attention. Okay, conducted data governance and quality control to ensure structured, well-maintained data sets, reducing inconsistencies in investment analysis by 30%. Okay, now this is also the CPR method, but inverted CPR method, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, whenever you see this on people's CV, you would want to directly, have a communication with them, have a discussion with them. Okay, how did you go about this? You did data governance and you're a data analyst. Okay, do you know a thing about using SQL? Do you know anything about data engineering since you've done data governance? And you also ensured, quality control and structured, data sets. You ensured quality control, you ensured structured and maintained data sets. You see, this had given me, I think I would want to have a conversation with Williams Patrick. I'm confused now if you're entirely a data analyst or a data engineer like myself. Okay, now back to the session. Okay, back to the session. All right. Now back to the session. Okay, I had already talked about this. Okay, I had already talked about, sorry, I was a bit forward than myself. Okay, let's say for example, you're a customer support specialist, like I was saying in the past. Okay, you've handled customer complaints, like I was saying from Patrick's experience that he has in the chat box. You can feel free to check it out, guys. Feel free to check it out. And a very fantastic one, Patrick. Okay, very fantastic one, Patrick. So if you have yours and you also want to share, please feel free to put it in the chat box. Okay, feel free to put it in the chat box. All right, now you want to use the CPR method like I have put in the chat box, okay, to write your experience. Just a line in your experience, a bullet point in your experience, okay? You've resolved 90% of customer complaints within 24 hours, boosting satisfaction by 18%. This is directly more detailed than what you have here. Okay, handled customer complaints. You don't want to use the old method of having things on your CV. All right, you want to ensure that you're driving home a point, all right, from your CV directly. They are meeting and they are getting to know you. That's why you want to ensure that your CV is well annotated. Okay, is well annotated with the proper um action verb. All right, with the proper action verb. Now, as I was saying in the past, LinkedIn, why you don't overlook LinkedIn, guys? Very, very, very key thing. The reason why, whenever I'm talking about your CV, I also talk about your LinkedIn. Okay, I also talk about your LinkedIn. Trust me, whenever I shoot out an application, like myself, if you send me your CV, the first thing I would do is I'll go to your LinkedIn and type in your name, or I'll Google search your name and see what comes up. Okay, Google search your name and see what comes up. Now, your LinkedIn is directly the social media aspect of your CV. Okay, it's your CV that's there. I can always search, go through it, and see who you really are. All right, I go to your LinkedIn, I search your name, and I see who you really are. That's your CV on the go. Let me put it that way. Your CV on the go. Now, your CV helps you build trust. 100%, guys. You definitely agree with me. Trust and proof. Okay, trust and proof from things that you've done, from even if you're like me who doesn't really post, okay, you don't really put things out there, but from tags, from mentions, you've put in that proof of who you really are via your LinkedIn profile, Now, there is a caveat. I think I'll talk about that briefly now. Should in case if I don't really have much time to talk about it towards the ending of the session. All right, now you're always going to be revamping your CV, guys, per job application. I think I had put it there. That's going to be tailored. Your CV is going to be tailored 100%. Now, there is something I tend to do at the very, very basic beginning. All right. Whenever I'm working with any client CV, if you're sending me your CV and I'm going to work with it, one thing I tend to do is I do a bit of web scraping as a data engineer. I web scrape, I go through the internet, search about 150 job description or job adverts or 200 job adverts. Based off of the information I get there, I use that to build a compelling CV for you. Now, trust me, that CV is going to be so elaborate that it's gonna, trust me, it's gonna have every keyword whenever I put it through an ATS with any job description. Okay, at least I'll be having 80% ATS score, at least an 80% ATS score. But for me, any job application, I'm going to be targeting 95%. And that's why I would revamp it again per job description. Now, why did I mention this? For your LinkedIn, guys, for your LinkedIn, I would now use that, okay, to structure the entire LinkedIn profile from the about summary to your skills to your experience. Ensure that all these things are there. And what it will help you is your CV across board. Okay, while you're revamping your CV, any revamp you do, you're sure you'll find it in your LinkedIn. You revamp your CV. Your CV is not going to be 100% far away. At least you have 80% to 90% of your CV in your LinkedIn. Okay, that's why I tend to employ that method. Okay, and I also implore you to use such method. All right, now there is one that you know I have been mentioning since: clear career clarity. In your CV needs that clarity. Okay, the career clarity. Now, it would help you with a clear story. To help you with a clear story, and that's why I'm very much impressed with what Williams is share in the chat box with us. Okay, that clarity is there, that 100% clarity. All right, guys, if you're following, if you're listening, and just give me a thumbs up. If you're following me, just give me a thumbs up. Let me know that I'm not speaking to just myself. All right, fantastic, fantastic one. Okay, fantastic one. Thank you very much for that. Okay, you need that career clarity. Okay, that career clarity. Now, when you have that clear story on your CV, what would it help you with? A powerful CV. Now, that powerful CV would help you in turns open doors. All right, open doors. So, in essence, your CV is a direct key. All right, you're going to be unlocking the ATS whenever you're putting your CV out there. Okay, whenever you're putting your CV out there, all right, whenever you're putting your CV out there, it's going to help you open the door. In fact, I could just give you an example top of my head, an example top of my head. Let's say, for example, Netflix is trying to market a movie, and they tell you that the movie is a story about a man who lived, who worked, and died. Trust me, you would not even want to watch the movie, because I mean there is nothing so fascinating there. Everybody live, everybody have worked. Definitely people would get to leave this world at some point in time. But then your CV shouldn't be like that. And trust me, my CV used to be like that at some point in time. Oh, I'm Abdullahi. I had gone through so and so process. I'm a data engineer. I had done this, I had done that, and this is where I am now. And my CV wasn't getting anywhere. All right, now you want to tell a story, just like what Williams has shared with us. So there is a reason why I keep making reference to that. So that's a direct reference that anyone could, make use of. Okay, just like the one I had concerning the customer service specialist. Now, from Williams' CV, you would have seen there that he has a bit of knowledge concerning data governance, even without asking. And as an expert who is in the field, who is looking to hire him as a hiring manager, I would know that definitely he knows a thing about SQL. Okay, for him to be doing a bit about data governance, he should be good with SQL. All right, the next thing I would want to know is, have you used that query language to take a data set directly from cloud base? Now I'd want to have a conversation with him. Now that's one very key thing, one thing that your CV would help you do. Okay, that's one very key thing that your CV would help you open doors. Now when you optimize your LinkedIn, you would get found. Okay, it definitely would get you found. So your LinkedIn and your CV work hand in hand. All right, and that's the more reason why whenever I'm talking about CV 100%, I also touch base on your, I also touch base on your LinkedIn. All right, I also touch base on your LinkedIn. Okay, I also touch base of all your LinkedIn. All right, now before I proceed to show you, after revamping CVs, putting CVs out there, and I've even gotten a feedback. I should have taken a snippet of that off of my WhatsApp. I sent a particular CV to I think I'll attach it to this document. Whilst we share the documents with you at the end of the session, okay, attach the snippet of that conversation. All right. I did revamp a CV and I sent it out to one of the clients that I did work with, and they told me, they gave me feedback. Just one CV, right? Against all odds. Okay, something that still amazes me today. All right, and I'll definitely share that snippet. I don't have it on this slides at the moment, but I'll share it. Okay, you stay to the end of the session, you would get the slides by the end of the session, or it will be put on the community. Okay, so if you are not on the community yet, please do well to join the WhatsApp community. Okay, so you'll be getting the slides as well as that snippet. Now, they did get over 21 more interviews after I had gotten them 3 interviews. All right, after I had gotten them 3 interviews. So I mean, your CV would definitely get you those callbacks. Now, this is one of the participants that helped, revamp their CV, revamp their LinkedIn, as well as shoot out tailored applications. Okay, shoot out tailored applications. Okay, Ebenezer has a question in the chat box. I'm doing a master's in HRM. All right, no worries. I'll take this question. Okay, while I'm done. Okay, presenting, I'll have a question and answer series. I just want to spend nothing more than 30 minutes while presenting all this, so I can have very ample time taking question and answers. Okay, revamping their CV, revamping their LinkedIn. Okay, all I needed to do to get this up here is searching my, in their emails, interview countless number of them, and have it here for you to see. Right after revamping, okay, after revamping and sending out application, most times you would even see situations whereby recruiters tend to send you an email. If you're in the UK and you've heard of CV Library, just give me a thumbs up. If you've heard of CV Library, give me a thumbs up. You're in the UK, you've heard of CV Library, give me a thumbs up. Oh, fantastic one, Tina. Fantastic one, Ebenezer. Okay, now CV Library is also a platform that works almost similarly as LinkedIn. Okay, if you have your CV library well optimized, you have your CV library well optimized, and as the name in code CV library, you have your CV there, it's well optimized. Your profile is 100%. Trust me, you have recruiters reach out to you. In fact, you would see recruiters view your profile. Okay, and this LinkedIn, where I have recruiters sending out messages to clients that had worked with in the past. I'm currently working with as well, telling them that they are best fit for a role. They should hop on a call and get to learn more about them. Usually, to this translates directly to interview invites at the end of the day. Now, this is also another interview invite that one of um clients that I work with has shared with me, and on and on and on. Okay, countless number of them. Okay, countless number of them. Now, I'll just give you an overview of how we help you from your CV down to your LinkedIn, down to getting those interviews and potentially landing a job at the end of the day. Right, landing a job at the end of the day. Now, to get an offer, the mundane thing to get an offer, usually, let's say you're sporadically applying to jobs, 15 to 20 jobs per day. Who here does 15 to 20 jobs in a day? I know that that's a stretch. Okay, and I can assure you that job hunting, applying to jobs, is a job on its own. You'd have to, take on that job to eventually land a full-time role. All right. Sending out application is a job on its own. So if you're doing 5 in a day, you're doing less than 5 in a day, well, I don't know what magic, but it can happen. Okay, but the odds are very, very, very low. The odds are very low that you'd eventually land a job. So what we do here at Talent Loop, all right, what we do here at Talent Loop is we help you apply to tailored jobs. Now we'll revamp your CV, we'll revamp your LinkedIn. Now you're on a very good pedestal to visibility by any recruiter. Now, we also help you apply to tailored jobs, help you apply to tailored jobs. And in return, you get 3 jobs interviews within the time frame that will be working with you, within the time frame that will be working with you. We also help you stand out, okay, be top 1% candidate per, any callback. And that's by helping you prepare. Okay, that's by helping you prepare for the interview. Okay, that's by helping you prepare for the interview. That's how we make you be a top 1% candidate. Okay, we help you prepare for the interviews. Okay, now this is just a recap of what we do. All right, a recap of what we do. Help you with the CV and the LinkedIn. Okay, review it, revamp it, ensure that it has appropriate action verbs. Okay, apply to tailor jobs for you daily. Okay, apply to tailor jobs. In quotes, very tailored jobs. Okay, very tailored jobs. All right, and that's why we can't guarantee you 3 interviews within 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, now within 8 weeks, you get 3 interviews. All right, now why are we giving this guarantee? Why are we giving this guarantee? It's 100% success rate so far. 100% success rate so far. I can assure you that's 100% success rate. Oh, very common question that I do get. What if, you know, it's just one interview or just 2 interviews and the 8 weeks has elapsed? Okay, because some career paths are a bit more tedious or a bit more difficult than the other, or not as sought after as others, or in quotes tech career paths. What if you don't get as much interviews after before the 8 weeks? And one thing we'll do is would seek your opinion, seek your indulgence, ask you to extend that timeline so we can work with you and ensure that we give you 100% 3 interviews, 100% 3 interviews. And that's why the entire service is guaranteed, 100% guaranteed, as well as we prep you for the interview. So you get an interview, we prep you for the interviews. Okay, now some more participants that would help. Okay, you've seen a few via emails or via LinkedIn reach out, or via emails reach out. You've seen a few of them. Now this is also a few of you know um participant that had worked with personally and eventually did get an offer. So here is Ene. Ene did land an offer with Multiverse in the UK. Okay, with Multiverse in the UK. And you can see my conversation with them whilst we worked hand in hand from interview prep down to technical aspects of an interview. So while we were working on an interview, okay, we're prepping for one, we got an offer, and we just abandoned the remaining. And Anna is one person that did get countless number of interviews, and she did mention something. Oh, the UK had has this catchphrase whenever you're putting out an application, unfortunately. So here is my turn to put out unfortunately for them. Okay, so I mean, it could be you in a very short time. So here is also Yetunde. Yetunde is a very fantastic customer support specialist that I did work with. Okay, she has gotten an offer now with Clerics in New York, US. A customer support specialist. Trust me, a 6-figure paying job. Okay, and one thing I like about this individual, so I'll still come back to Ebenezer's question. Okay, one thing I like about Yetunde is she has enrolled again for a Scrum Master. She did mention something. She said she noticed that as much as she had known, she could also use it within her field. Okay, high paying job, and pretty much taking on Scrum Master, the tech aspect of project management is going to help her in her field. Okay, it's going to put her on that pedestal to grow even more. So I'll touch based on that as we move forward. Okay, now Temi Dayo. is also a very fantastic person that we had worked with, a Scrum Master in Canada, Winnipeg, Canada, who also eventually did land an offer, got numerous interviews, and we prepped her for that. Okay, these are people that we have helped get interview, we have prepped them for the interview, and they eventually did stand out, land the job offer at the end of the day. Okay, now, Mercy Jimo is a data product analyst based in Nigeria. She didn't get offers with companies in the US, UK. You know how it is. It's very fantastic being in Nigeria and, landing an offer with companies in the US and the UK. And we did help her within 1 month of working with us. We did help her, land quite a number of interviews. Similarly, Christiana is also a very fantastic professional that I've worked with. Okay, Christiana is also a very fantastic professional that we have worked with. All right, now moving on to the question that I just want to be sure if they're still on the call. Okay, Ebenezer is still on the call. Now, moving on to the question that Ebenezer had asked. Okay, I'm doing a master's in human resource management. I know that's what HRM is, and I'm looking to combine it with tech. Are there any HR tech areas you'd recommend focusing on for the future? I was thinking about HR data analysis. Okay, trust me, HR analytics is one very fantastic career path that you can get into as the tech aspect of HRM. Okay, the tech aspect of HRM. I think what we'll do after this call, Ebenezer, so we could help you get started. Since you're looking at getting into the HR um, analytics part of that's HR tech part of sorry about that, the HR tech part of data of HR tech part of HRM, so could help you get started. Sorry, sorry about that. Just a moment, guys. Okay, so could help you get started the HR tech part of HRM. Okay. What we'll do is I think what we'll do is I would tell one of my team members to reach out to you. Okay, I'll tell one of my team members to reach out to you. Or just to confirm, Ebenezer, are you on the community? Ebenezer, are you on the community? Just to confirm, please. And I'm yet to talk about the packages. Okay, Williams, Dora, I'll talk about the packages in a bit. I lost my slide while I was taking uh Benizer's question. Just a moment, okay? Just a moment. I'll reshare my slide and I'll reshare my screen. Just a moment to share my screen. Just so a moment to share my screen so I can talk about that. Ebenezer, just to confirm, please, are you currently on the community? Just so I can know how best to easily get to you via the community. Okay. Yes, WhatsApp group. Okay, okay, you're in the community. All right. All right. Just reach out to one of the admins there. Okay, reach out to the one of the admins there. Or don't worry, I'll try to get in touch to you. Okay, I'll try to get in touch to you. Okay, let me have my screen reshared. All right. Now we have quite a number of packages, okay, just to make it as flexible as possible. all right, to make it as flexible as possible. Now, the basic package covers the CV revamp, as well as the LinkedIn revamp. Now, the CV and LinkedIn revamp will ensure that you have actionable verbs there. You know, your CV is well optimized for clarity. Okay, well optimized for clarity. Now, that's what the basic package entails. All right, CV revamp for clarity. We ensure absolutely whenever we are revamping your CV, it's to pass the 8 years at the minimum of 80%. Okay, at the minimum of 80%. All right, now that's what the basic package entails: CV and LinkedIn revamp. Now for the premium package, you get everything in the basic package, as well as job applications, as well as job application. Now, so to answer your question, Williams, yes, the premium package is everything in the basic package, everything in the basic package, as well as you know apply to tailor jobs on your behalf. So while we apply to these tailor jobs on your behalf, okay, while we apply to these tailor jobs on your behalf, we continuously revamp your CV, continuously to revamp your CV to match this job application, as opposed just revamping your CV for clarity in the basic package. Okay, the premium package comes with continuous revamp for those tailored job applications. So we take that heavy lifting off of you, revamp your CV per job application. We source for these jobs. Okay, we source for these jobs, tailor jobs that suit your needs and your wants. Okay, the industry that you're looking to getting into. Then we revamp your CV to match those applications continuously. Now, that's what the premium package entails. Now, for the comprehensive package, you get everything in the premium package, which is the basic package, the premium package, as well as interview prep. And I can assure you that that's the best part. Okay, that's what I like to do the most: interview prep. Okay, that's the best part. Okay, because why you join the premium package, absolutely you're going to get the interviews. Now, the best part is putting you on that pedestal, have you go in there and speak with a lot of conviction. Okay, speak with a lot of conviction, become that top 1% candidate during that interview. I mean, I've had scenarios whereby clients speak with potential employers, and they do give them that feedback that, oh look, you've you have so much experience on this field. Uh, why do you even agree with this salary range? Okay, I've had that scenario before. For myself, I could tell you one thing that I faced, okay, during my time while I was still interviewing actively with companies in the US. Right, I was in Nigeria, currently still in Nigeria, and I was interviewing with companies in the US. And out of desperacy, out of being very desperate, I agreed to an offer, a 35 $1,000 offer annually. Okay, I agreed to it, and I got into the interview, and I spoke to the interviewer, and they asked me a question that shook me till date. Why did you sell yourself short? Are you sure you're who you say you are? Okay, you have this much experience, and you're agreeing for this low salary range. And my mind, I was out of desperation. The next thing was, why not just just give it to me first off, and let me work with it. Okay, so usually the best part the interview prep help you with tips and tricks to ace the interviews. Okay, tips and tricks to ace the interview 100%. Okay, tips and tricks to ace the interview 100%. So I'll definitely open the floor now for questions and answer. Open the floor for questions and answers. Okay, so you'd ask me questions, and I'll definitely give you the required answer. So the first question I have here is, okay, I think I had touch base on that. That's from Ebenezer while I lost my slides. So please feel free if you have any questions for me. This is the point whereby you ask your question. I don't want to keep anyone too long. Okay, the entire session should just last about an hour, and that's why I was very brief with all the things I would say. So if you have questions for me, please feel free to raise your hand and I take the questions. All right, feel free to raise your hands while I take the questions. Okay, I'm still waiting for, questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand while I take the question. Okay, so since no hands are up, I guess I'll be calling it a day here. So one thing to put at the back of your mind, your story, your story. Okay, it's a story, whether you have the experience or not, whether you have the experience directly or not. Now, when I mean whether you have the experience or not, is let's say, for example, you're a student, you just acquired this new skill, this new knowledge, and you're looking at transitioning, getting into a new career path or new tech path newly. You still have a story, a background story where you've worked on several projects. These stories need to be told. Okay, it needs to be told, and it needs to be told with clarity. Okay, it needs to be told with clarity. Okay, needs to be told with clarity. And that would help us ensure that your next application gets as much attention as possible. Okay, as much attention as possible. All right, now for some of you, you may have questions, but very personalized questions, okay, that you wouldn't want to speak about on this call. Okay, very personalized question you don't want to speak about on this call. Please feel free to use, there is a link in the chat box. Okay, you could use that to book a clarity link. Sorry, a clarity call. Okay, so it's a clarity link. Okay, to take you to Calendly. Then you book a call where you have a personalized session, one-on-one session with an expert like myself or any of our team members who would, you know, put you through, answer those questions 100%. Personalized call, just a one-on-one call. All right. So you could use that link to book the clarity call. Okay. Now, in the absence of any questions, it means that session was 100% clear and fantastic. So in the absence of any questions, uh, directly Williams did ask for the payment method, if or the payment plan, if the comprehensive part, sorry, the premium package. Okay, I wanted to ask, how do you match your LinkedIn and CV for every job you apply to, knowing fully well that every job application you have to tailor your CV? I think I did mention at some point in time, um, Williams, I did mention that I do a thing around web scraping, okay, whereby I web scrape about 150 up to 200 job adverts, job descriptions from the internet, okay, across board, across different job boards, different sites. I get them and I use the tools from those, from that data that I had gotten, from the web script data that I had gotten. I use it to populate your LinkedIn such that there are very important sought after skills that should be present. Okay, that should be present across board. Now, one thing that this would help, first off, let's even say, for example, the first thing that I do with that is I build a CV with that and I run it through an ATS, run it through several ATS across board. Any ATS that I need, I run it through it. And one thing that I had found out is, at a minimum, I get an 80% ATS score. At a minimum, 80% ATS score. Now, what this in turn would help you do as opposed your LinkedIn, while you use the data from there to populate your LinkedIn, is every job you tailor your CV to, every job you tailor your CV to, you're sure that there is an 80% alignment probability with your LinkedIn. Okay, so it's not going to be far-fetched. In fact, I can assure you that when the recruiter goes to your LinkedIn to search for who you are, they would directly note that this person is even more than what they are via the CV. If you understand what I mean, 100%. Just to confirm, Williams. All right, fantastic, fantastic. Fantastic one, William. So you had mentioned you did speak about the premium package as opposed the basic package. If the premium package and the basic package, that's if the basic package is embedded into the premium package. Yes, it is 100%. Are you looking to making payments? If yes, just give me a thumbs up, please. Just give me a thumbs up if yes. Give me a thumbs up, Williams. All right, fantastic. Um, the payments link is that's to get started is on the chat. Okay, is on the chat. You could, you could just use that to, make payments. I would also have one of my team members reach out to you to assist you so you could get an onboarding. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is we don't take as much people per batch. We take only 20 people per batch. Okay, we take only 20 people per batch. And the August batch is far gone. Okay, it's far gone. Okay, the August batch is far gone. So I would want them to quickly get you for the August batch. Okay, get you onboarded for the August batch. All right. So personally, I'll have one of my team members reach out to you just so we could get your payment and help you um, on board as quickly as possible. Okay, help you on board as quickly as possible. We don't take more than 20 people per batch, just so we can give them a very premium experience. All right, very premium experience. So whilst you're on the call, you could try proceed by using the main stack link that you have in the chat box. Okay, my team member did put it there. Okay, my team member did put it there, so you could use it to um enroll, and they help you get onboarded immediately. All right, help you get onboarded immediately. Okay, now since there are no further questions, I guess it's safe to call it a day. If it was a fantastic session, please give me a thumbs up or the flower emoji, then we call it a day here. Well within our well within 1 hour, not far spent. All right, fantastic, Williams, fantastic. Cheers, cheers, guys. Have a wonderful evening. It's a very fantastic one speaking with you all. Bye, guys.